Your house was about a dozen homes away from Uncle and Aunt Tam's place. They had only one son, named Viet. You and Viet were the same age, grew up together, played together, and even went to the same school. Despite being a boy, Viet was shy, timid, gentle, and physically smaller than other boys his age. As he grew older, younger people who met him could easily tell he was part of the LGBT community, though his family never realized it. They simply thought he was small, quiet, and delicate by nature. When Viet reached high school, he discovered a passion for fashion design. He sketched clothing designs on paper, bought fabric, learned to cut and sew, and could make dresses for dolls and even clothes for people. He was remarkably skilled and dreamed of becoming a successful fashion designer in the future. After finishing 12th grade, Viet applied to a fashion design program. At that time, Uncle and Aunt Tam didn't say anything. They allowed him to follow his dream. He passed the entrance exam, moved to Saigon, and studied there for a year. During his first year in Saigon, everything was normal. When he returned home for the summer break, everything still seemed fine. But one day, Uncle Tam unexpectedly met an old friend named Uncle Nam, and that encounter changed everything. Because they had not seen each other for years, they decided to drink together and catch up. Talking about their children, Uncle Nam asked about Viet, what he was studying and whether he had graduated. Uncle Tam proudly said, "My son is studying fashion. He finished his first year and is home for summer. He sews very well." But upon hearing that, Uncle Nam frowned and criticized the decision harshly. He said, "Why did you let a boy study fashion? That's a woman's job. Look at my son. He studied electrical engineering, graduated, and now earns a lot of money." His tone implied that Uncle Tam's choice was absurd. At first, Uncle Tam only laughed it off. But as the conversation continued, Uncle Nam insisted that Viet should quit fashion school and switch to electrical engineering, promising to help him find a job later. Even though Uncle Tam appeared to ignore the comments, he returned home thinking about them. The more he thought, the more he believed his friend was right. He regretted having let Viet follow a feminine career path. He discussed it with Aunt Tam, and together they decided to force Viet to quit. When they told him, Viet refused. He said he loved fashion design and had already completed 1 year with passion and effort. Uncle Tam didn't listen. He insisted that Viet must quit immediately and switch to electrical engineering. When Viet continued to refuse, his father threatened to stop providing financial support for school and living expenses. Under constant scolding and pressure, Viet eventually gave in. He quit the fashion program and tested into an electrical engineering major. Despite not liking it, he studied well enough to pass the entrance exam. However, during his new studies, Viet became increasingly unhappy. He went to class like someone with no spirit. Every time he returned home, he looked depressed. He asked repeatedly to quit, but his father refused. He even asked his grandparents, who lived next door, to help convince his parents. But his grandparents, already old, advised him to endure it for the sake of peace. Believing his parents wanted the best for him, Viet grew thinner day by day. He couldn't sleep, lost interest in everything, and felt trapped. One day, after being scolded again for wanting to quit, he felt devastated and went to sleep at his grandparents' house. The next morning, he didn't get up as usual. At first, his grandparents assumed he slept late. But when it became too late and he still didn't come out, they called him and got no response. They had to break the door. When they entered, Viet had already drunk pesticide and passed away. His family was shocked, heartbroken, and overwhelmed with regret. The house filled with grief and sorrow during the funeral. Friends from Saigon who studied with him came to mourn. They revealed that Viet had been miserable the entire year, feeling forced, depressed, and hopeless. He only continued because he feared disappointing his parents. Hearing this crushed Uncle and Aunt Tam even more. But nothing could bring Viet back. After the funeral, strange events began happening in their home, starting with a small oil lamp falling and breaking by itself. A fire almost erupted, but they managed to put it out in time. A few nights later, Uncle Tam dreamed of Viet standing beside his bed, crying and saying, "Dad, I'm dead now. Are you satisfied?" After that, the house frequently filled with the sound of fabric scissors' distinctive snipping noises, as though someone were cutting cloth in the dark. Uncle Tam heard it clearly several times, but Aunt Tam never did. One morning they woke up to find scraps of fabric scattered throughout the house, even though no one in the home owned such materials. They cleaned them up, but more strange things happened afterward. Food spoiled instantly, rice turned slimy, and cookware clattered loudly at night. Terrified, Aunt Tam went to see a spiritual practitioner, who said Viet's spirit had not moved on because he died angry and in despair. The practitioner said Viet was also haunting the man who persuaded his father to force him to quit Uncle Nam. When confronted, Uncle Nam's wife revealed he had been sick and terrified for days. Uncle Nam later admitted he had seen Viet's spirit cutting off his own fingers with scissors, blood pouring everywhere. The horrifying vision caused him to faint and fall severely ill afterward. After performing spiritual rituals, the disturbances gradually stopped. Yet villagers occasionally reported seeing Viet standing inside his old home, or sitting sadly on his grave at dusk. Over time, these sightings faded. People believed he eventually reincarnated. The story remains a tragic reminder of how forcing a child against their true passion can lead to devastating consequences.